So I brought all my action cameras on our recent trip, not only to make a proper review of each one, but also to see which of the 4 I like the most, like for personal use. So in this video we'll take a look at the quality, battery life and convenience of each camera. The 4 cameras are the GoPro Hero 10, DJI Action 2, DJI Osmo Action and the Insta360 GO 2. All these cameras were mostly used during midday, so every camera experienced somewhat the same temperature. It's safe to say though that the Osmo Action and I has grown apart. It was the least used camera on this trip. I used it a few times on my paddleboard and for some snorkeling, but that's about it. The snorkeling I did with the Osmo Action turned out pretty good to be honest, but I just felt like it was a downgrade. It could be the fact that I had the DJI Action 2 as well, which was used a lot more. So it's safe to say that the Osmo Action is not joining on our next trip, but it has definitely earned its place as my 3rd most used action camera. Now the Action 2 on the other hand was the camera I was looking forward to test and to use in Hawaii. My goal was to put this on the DJI FPV drone and cruise the mountains. But the trade winds. Gusts harder than I ever experienced. It was so difficult to fly and the FPV drone was constantly shaking, so even though I used the same settings I always use and the same exposure correction before starting to fly, I also flew with and without ND filters from Telesin, it was always looking bad or at best barely usable. So to fly the FPV like I wanted to, I could just forget it. Luckily the FPV drone has its own 4K camera, so I was able to get some decent shots after all. Now for diving and snorkeling with the Action 2, I used a waterproof case from Telesin. I was really happy with the quality of these and tried both versions. The single one for the lens module and the dual one so I could include the screen module. And I definitely used the dual one the most so I could get extended battery life. Unlike the FPV shots, I really like the look coming from the underwater shots, both the normal and the cine-like color profile. It was easy to grade and for some reason it felt more natural than the Osmo Action. Now using the Action 2 as a dashcam though, even with the air conditioner on max, it overheated. It overheated after about 2 minutes in 4K regardless of frame rate. And with their new magnetic case which should prevent overheating, it lasted only about 30 seconds longer. So it obviously struggles in high temperatures, which is a shame. I really like the Action 2, but not being able to use it as I want makes it somewhat useless. As far as I can tell, its only purpose is when I fly with the FPV drone, but the Action 2 will still join me on my next trip despite using it only a few times. Now moving over to the next camera, which is gonna be the GoPro Hero 10. This is my 3rd or 4th GoPro 10. I've kept selling and returning them after using them for a few times only. I don't know why, but it just felt like it felt bad. It felt like a rushed product. The first 2 I had might have been, those had a few issues I haven't seen in the model I own now, but I wanted to give the GoPro 10 a last chance so I bought one right before our departure. And I can honestly say that this was the most used camera in Hawaii. Now let's just cut to the pros right away. I never experienced any overheating, not a single time, not once, never any overheating with the GoPro Hero 10. And the natural color profile gave me enough saturation plus a little bit extra so it was easy to adjust in post-production. I also didn't have to mess around with transferring the footage from the camera to an SD card like I had to do with the Action 2, and I could also use a higher capacity SD card so I didn't swap mine once. And the battery and SD card is in the same compartment and the SD card is actually easy to remove and place, unlike the Osmo Action and the fact that I needed to use a diving case with the Action 2 if I wanted to record to an SD card when snorkeling. It has a bigger screen than the other models that I brought and the photos captured look so much better than the previous models and the other cameras that I have with me. So there's my list of pros after using this for about 2 months. I don't really have any cons from this trip using the Hero 10, so I can't really give you any. And HSU, or Happy Share Up, which is an accessory company, sent over a bunch of accessories which was really helpful. I used a lot of the mounts on my paddleboard to be able to place multiple cameras at once facing different directions. They also had a GoPro floaty in their kit, which I used with my GoPro bite mount when I tried surfing for the first time. I never surfed before, but it was quite similar to snowboarding, which I have years of experience with, and it's definitely something I'm looking forward to do again. So the Hero 10 was the action camera that I used the most in Hawaii, but is it my favorite one? So let's talk about the last camera that I brought to Hawaii, and this is the Insta360 GO 2. I have a full in-depth review of this GO 2 against the GoPro Hero 10, which will be linked down in the description below just in case you want to check that one out. Now, for me as a father of two, traveling around hiking with expensive cameras to create memories is not always the easiest or the best way to get around. So I'm glad I put the GO 2 in my pocket before leaving Norway. I've never experienced such a small, compact and versatile camera when traveling. Now, this video is not sponsored by Insta360 by no means, so this is my honest opinion after using the Insta360 GO 2 for about 2 months. Like I said, it's the most versatile camera for traveling. I mean, the GoPro and the Action 2 has chest mounts and pendant mounts and even head mounts, but it's not the same. With the GoPro and Action 2, you would need to use the head strap or a clip. I've never tried these, but it feels and looks so chunky and massive. With the GO 2, you have this small head mount you just clip on your hat and that's it, and you mount the GO 2 and you're ready to go. It's super convenient and super easy. Now the GO 2 doesn't shoot 4 or 5K, and for quality it's not even gonna come close, but in bright conditions with a lot of sun, it's not looking that bad, to be honest. It actually looks pretty good. The vivid color profile is also pretty good and easy to work with, and because of the convenience and the mounts being subtle and small, it was pretty easy to pick this over the other cameras when going for a hike. It was just, you know, a no-brainer. Just snap it on, clip it on and just record, and that's it. But I wouldn't take this to shoot cinematic videos. It's just not capable of that. I've tried, but it's not capable. But as a camera to document or to grab some quick shots here and there, or to be hands-free when you're taking your little kid on adventures, I rank this as a #1 camera with the GoPro Hero 10. And if I'm gonna be dead honest, it's a must-have camera. And just as the GoPro, I didn't experience any overheating issues, and it was recording for the entire duration I put, which was about 10 minutes. And start and stop recording with just a tap was really convenient. Just make sure that you change the settings to Pro Video on the charge case before you start recording the first time. This way it will record Pro Video every time you stop and start recording until you turn it off again. And the GO 2 also has different vibrations, which gives you the different warnings. Once you get used to these, you know exactly what's going on. And since the case is also a charging case, it made it super easy to record a sequence, then put it back in the case to charge whilst hiking to the next location. But I do hope and wish that Insta360 comes out with an improved GO 3 where we can see a slightly wider and taller body with 4K 60 and a SD card slot at the bottom. That would be awesome. Now the Insta360 Studio though is a bit of a workaround which you have to get used to. But importing the raw files and export the video goes pretty fast, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. I usually import the footage and then put it through this studio and then just do the changes that I want to do, hit export, and then I work on something else or take a break or anything like that. Have some family time or something like that. I'll eat lunch, whatever. It goes pretty fast actually, so I wouldn't worry about that. Now, I can honestly say that the Hero 10 and the GO 2 is something that I can't travel without. These two will be in my priority bag on our next trip. The Osmo Action has officially retired and will from now on be watching the house. The Action 2 is a different story. I've had so many awesome shots with it here in Norway, but if it can't handle the high temperatures and the ways I want to use it, it might be a lost case. So let me know your favorite action camera in the comments below. Is it any of these cameras, or do you have another favorite action camera? So that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you found it helpful, please consider hitting that subscribe button. So until next time, take care, and I will see you soon.